This broadcast is live.
We are live.
Almost live. Kind of, sort of live.
We're all just constructs in the machine.
Yes. Bear with us for
ghosts
just a
in the
minute as we set some things up here. Finish getting everything going.
Okay, good. I've got the wind chime starting shortly. Message on
Cool.
YouTube. Good.
Cool. Good to hear.
Okay, the YouTube delay is still weird to hear. I got to mute that. Ooh.
Do.
Exactly. Again, we'll get started in just a minute, folks. Minute or two. As we listen to the dulcet tones of Lobby Time by Kevin MacLeod.
How did you find Lobby Time, by the way?
It's on the YouTube thing. Audio.
No, actually, Incompetech is a website run by Kevin MacLeod.
That's right. Yeah, he does it. Yeah.
And he provides a whole bunch of his music available for free for folks to use, as long as we credit appropriately. So you'll see credit for that in the YouTube.
Because I mean, it's incredible lobby music.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
You can find his stuff on the YouTube audio, like they let you use for when you're putting.
You sure?
You can. Yeah, but that's actually how I came across him. Like he has it, but it still has that standard disclaimer. You know, you have to put the stuff on.
Oop.
Right. You have to give proper credit.
Yeah. I'm just entranced by the wind chime.
Mm-hmm.
The wind chime is compelling me to murder.
You've got the lobby relaxation music, the wind chime just sort of swinging there. Yeah.
Does it look like there's a bunny inside the wind chime?
There is a bunny.
There is a bunny inside the wind chime.
It is? Okay, I'm not imagining that. Okay. The acid has not kicked in yet. All right.
All right. Now let's try something here.
Oh boy.
And we're back. Hello, everyone.
That went very loud suddenly, like right
It
there.
did.
And,
Indeed.
you know, it's a good thing that was not on any hallucinogenics, because that would have been like going from the tranquil wind chime to that would just toss me over the edge there.
Yeah.
Shocking. Yeah.
I'll have to rework that a little bit to have more of a fade in and fade out than it had before, because I had different controls back in the day. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, John, in chat, for posting out the link. We will see how that goes. I hope more folks can join us here for what we're going to talk about today. Hello, everyone. It's Sunday night. That means it is time for the Weekly Dig. For those of you new to the stream, this is a show where we talk about anime, old and new, and dig deep. This is, my name is Brent. These are my fabulous co-hosts, John.
Konbanwa, mina.
And Steve.
Hello, hello.
So let's get into it and start talking, because today we are going to talk about a little show, which I am furiously trying to get set up here. Hold on. There we go. I just need to do that and then share that thing so we can talk about
That thing.
Gundam, the 8th MS team. That's right. So we watched the first 3 episodes of the 12-episode MS Gundam 8th MS team OVA we started in 1995, went on for a few years there for a variety of reasons, which I'm sure we will get into. Part of the Gundam franchise, very, very clearly, very much one of those things. and well remembered as being one of the more grounded Gundam series, more about sort of boots on the ground soldiers. Also having plenty of mecha action. Now, let's get into this.
Well, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
This is a 12 episode OVA.
Mm-hmm.
Did they do that a lot with like side arc kind of Gundam things? Because 12 episodes to me is like nowadays
Pretty long.
Full season.
Yeah.
In that period of time, maybe it was a half season.
Mhm.
But you know what I mean? It seems unusual to have a 12 episode
Mhm.
OVA.
This is definitely on the longer side.
Yeah, I was gonna say War in the Pocket was 6, right?
Well, the market is, I'm not sure, honestly. Could be 6. Double 80 is, I think, Double 83, excuse me, I think is 10. But yes, typically your OVAs are 6 or so episodes long. I think 6 is kind of was the standard in the early 90s.
Okay.
Tenchi Muyo, El Hazar, a lot of the AIC stuff was that. So you're right, this is definitely a longer one.
Yeah,
Also,
it would have gotten a season's worth of show
right.
for now. I mean,
also complicated by the fact that the director passed away partway through the creation of AMS team.
He was dying to do the Gundam thing, and literally he died doing the Gundam thing.
Yeah. So that was fairly late in the process, around episode I think 9, 8 or 9. So somebody else stepped in, but I'm sure that complicated things as well.
Yeah, no joke.
Delayed stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we should mention everyone's kind of exposure to Gundam at this point. John, how much Gundam have you seen?
The first 9 episodes of the original Gundam series. And that's it. And now this.
Okay.
For me, it's been the original Universal Century. This one, War in the Pocket, the Origin movies, Wing, Gundam Wing, and I'm through most of Unicorn, I think.
Nice, yeah, cool. I've seen most of it.
Wow.
Not all of the more recent Gundams. Nothing against them. Just haven't gotten that. But I went through a period of kind of catching up on all the Gundams some years ago. So fairly familiar with all of this stuff, as awesome as it is. So Gundam is definitely a HMS team rather is a really good starting point, I think, for Gundam. You don't need to know anything going on about Gundam in general. You don't need to know everything. You just know that there's a war between Earth Federation and Zeon, the Zeeks, and that kind of sets you up. And being on Earth, I think, helps a lot too for most of the story. Although this story does not start on Earth. Actually, I mean, it does start on Earth because we get to see some of the characters, but it very quickly shifts to space. And it tells the story of Shiro Amada on his way to Earth for his first big mission in the story. What were your all's impressions of Shiro?
It was refreshing to have a character not on the spectrum.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. The first time I saw it, I was just like, oh God, here we go. The young kid who's like, socially whatever. And he's going to be on this. And it's just like, oh no, he's actually, he's excitable. He's exuberant, but he's clearly a soldier and a person who can communicate with people.
Right.
There's, and he's, he's gregarious with the people around him.
He's affable.
He's affable. And in the first episode, you immediately get the idea that there is no conflict with him as to what he is doing at all. Right. He's just like, when it starts off with the action in space, he's just like, okay, I got to do the thing. Let's do the thing. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And he just, that's what he does. As opposed to like, oh, people, I have to talk to people. I'd rather look at this Gundam manual so I can pilot the thing. It's just really nice and refreshing not to have that.
Yeah, he seems very hero-y. You know, he's
Yeah.
willing to go
Yeah.
out in a ball versus like, oh, you know, you're going to do nothing. You're going to stand there because there's things happening, but you don't have the proper equipment. It's like, no, he is willing to improvise and do what he needs to do and do the hero thing.
Yep.
And do it intelligently. No offense to prior Gundam pilots, but
thoughtfully,
yeah,
perhaps.
Yes. He's got a plan. He's going to put it into action. It might not seem to be the best plan, but it is a plan, and he does fully inhabit that. So I liked him. I thought his character was an interesting take. I didn't realize who he was until later in the episode.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, really? I thought he was just kind of like the casual, cowboy. Like he's, just doing the thing. I'm like, oh, okay, got it. Now I gotcha.
Yep.
He leads by example. Okay, gotcha.
Shiro is definitely one of the more refreshing Gundam main characters. Because he's a lot more relatable, I think, to your guys' point. See here. Well, let's go through because we don't meet too many of them, but we definitely do get a variety of the various characters here. What were your thoughts on I think he's a junior ensign, Michael?
The techno nerd.
The techno nerd-ish kind of a guy.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on him?
I thought it was kind of interesting, even still now, having seen this probably about 4 or 5 times, that he's writing in a book.
Yeah.
And he's writing his letters, and it's really not a memoir, but it's his diary, and he's writing it for somebody. And it's just, here you have all this technology and stuff going on around you, and here's this guy with a book just writing in there. He's very dismissive of what's going on around him and of people. So you get the idea, you get the sense that he's just not necessarily by the book kind of person, but you have to. He's got an opinion.
Yeah.
He's got an opinion on things, and he's not always correct. Let's just say.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have him as you have our cowboy. Who is good at what he does, but he's still a cowboy. And then you have the guy who is writing, constantly in his journal love letters to an unknown. And he is very much like the sort of voice of reason kind of thing. He wants to also pilot a Gundam. But he does the duty that he's given, and he does it well, and he does it as like to the best of his ability by the book that he has to do it. Versus Cowboy. Who is achieving the end by any means necessary.
And what's funny is in a lot of mecha series in general, Michael would be the protagonist. Yeah. Right? Because he's the young buck
kind of guy.
But no, we're gonna flip the script here. Yeah. Which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, we definitely have that.
And did they mention in this early part where are they descending from?
Side 2?
Definitely. I'm not sure. I think it was side 2. Yeah.
Okay, what is that?
Okay.
See, I just took it for granted. I'm like, okay, is the colony? They can't be coming from a colony. I'm like, well,
they are.
Could they?
They are.
Or could they be coming
this
from
is
the
the
moon?
other part.
Well, I don't think they're coming from the moon either.
This is one of the nice things, refreshing things about this particular series is that these are Fetties from the colonies. So they're conscripts from the colony. Well, not necessarily conscripts, but volunteers from the colonies. Colonies that are sided with Earth, because not all the colonies are sided with Zeon, and some of them, like War in the Pocket, the side which is the big orbital tube thing. Right. That's what those are. Some of them are neutral. So the one in War in the Pocket is neutral. That takes place in. It hasn't taken either side in the conflict. So these are like all like little nations, right? And they're aligning with them or not aligning with them. So these guys are from side 2. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And this is they're being taken to Earth to fight, but they are Federation soldiers from.
They're transferred to Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was not entirely clear. I'm like, okay, I know they're Federation. I have no idea where this transport ship is coming from, and immediately it makes me think of like Macross kind of thing. Be like, okay, in the early stages of Macross, there was the Mars base, and they were they're trying to get from Earth to Mars. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe these people, maybe they're coming from Mars side or something like that. I don't know where they're coming from.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually an important point for Gundam, for those new Gundam. There is no faster than light in Gundam. Everything takes place in actual time. So a Mars colony would be 6 months away.
And do they have? Because I remember you guys talking before about Gundam takes place like Moon and Earth.
Yeah.
It is not like, the Saturn colony.
Right. Yeah.
It's like,
no, it's pretty close. You're talking like a lot of these sides are within like 2 or 3 days of Earth.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is there a Mars presence or not? It's all they only got orbital and that's it. Okay.
There is a
separate series.
No, there is a mining facility on Saturn, I believe. There's a very remote thing, because that's a thing in Double Zeta that somebody comes from. I think it's Saturn, one of the other planets. There's a very remote. It's one of the big ongoing mysteries is what the heck's going on out there. Because folks show up from there and it's weird. But that's the whole point. Is that like that is months away, and people, it's completely different. Yeah, the vast majority of stuff is basically within the lunar orbit.
Okay.
In terms of scale and distance. But yeah, they are going to Earth, and then things happen. As they always do. Right. There's a battle, and being, Earth Federation soldiers, they're like, well, we should probably check out and see what's going on. So to your point, Shiro goes out in a ball, which is a very, very small machine, but manages to do pretty darn well against an early Zaku.
Which, not knowing how a ball's supposed to be armed, it has like 2 105 autocannons or something on its back, where it's like, that's actually a fair amount of, it seems, offensive power for what looked like a little service vehicle.
Absolutely. And that is very much kind of the point. Let's see if we can get a better shot of, there we go. So to be clear, one of the things in the Gundam universe is that balls are the classic, early space development construction vehicles. Right, you have a sphere around a human with mechanical arms that can grab things and move things and have torches and so forth and so on. When the 1 year war broke out, because it's the first, actual space war, they were like, okay, stick a gun on it. Great, we have a ton of these laying around. Stick a gun on it, and we can technically fight with these things. So that's the point of the ball. It's like, yes, it is technically a piloted, unit, but it's not really.
Wow. Well, and to that point, when you watch Gundam Origins, the two movies, it takes place, of course, before the war, and they talk about actually the Zeons making the first real mobile suits and how to propulse them and those kinds of things, and what the Federation had, which were the gun tank and the I forget what they're called, with the gun cannon. And that was it. So, these things were like, it wasn't just like patchwork. Here we go. Here's a couple of them, throw them out there. This was actually a thing. This is how they had to fight at first, because there wasn't really any real mobile suits.
Yeah. No humanoid machines.
Yeah.
And so, not to get too far in the weeds, because this is not anything to do with the AMS team, but it is useful background information. The idea is that humanoid machines are easier for the human mind to map movement onto. So if you're learning to pilot a ball, for example, you have to remember that these things can move in all sorts of crazy directions and kind of figure out the mapping for those controls. But if your controls map to arms and legs, it's easier for the pilot to get used to that thing, so you can train someone up much faster on those machines. And so that's the Zaku, which was the first mobile suit, and so forth and so on. So that's where that came from.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we have our fight. And quite simply, it doesn't go too well for either side. Shiro is kind of thrown, is put in great danger, as is the pilot of the other suit, Aina, who we see here in the very loud interstitial.
Her name should have been Ima, because I'm in love.
I'm in love. There we go. But they're basically trapped together. in an old Hulk, and for lack of a better term, basically they have to figure out a way past their differences to get out of there alive, both of them.
Which the showing of what looks like a pretty well together Hulk. I mean, it's not exactly just all scrap parts. There's like still inner compartments and stuff, and dead people.
Yeah.
Like,
well, this is
wow, they went there pretty quick with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things. The other refreshing thing about this is that you stop and think about it. There would be air. There would be compartmentalized, things still under pressure, and there would be bodies that come out. Space isn't that clean, so to speak. It's not like it's like everything's okay, bring in the fire and get rid of all the bodies, right? It's just those are things, and it's Shiro's reaction to it when the first body just pops out as he opens the door. He's like, which I think would be anybody's reaction, honestly.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Also, space is really big.
Yes.
Which is one of the things, and again, because this is a thing where folks say, well, wouldn't somebody have found it and use it for scrap? It's like, it's way over there, and this is way over there. Like actually finding and grabbing all of these Hulks and doing all that stuff is a whole separate thing. There is actually an element in Gundam. There are like scrappers that go around and collect these things, but it's not something that you like automatically go and do, because that Hulk may have been drifting away from its battlegrounds for months. And so
I think they even
it?
say in there, wow, this thing must have been drifting for a long time.
Yeah. So,
with all of its armaments, torpedoes, and explosives things and stuff. Yikes.
Yeah. So basically, they make it out with a somewhat romantic little moment with the two of them together.
I thought I was watching Cinemax After Dark at one point because the music that was playing was very reminiscent of that. So, just saying. I was like, wait a minute, are we going? No, this is Gundam, not okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that would be difficult. Like, that whole operation would be very difficult in spacesuits. Just saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Docking procedures require a lot of preparation.
Exactly.
And that ain't gonna work like that.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, definitely some saxophone involved in this scene.
Yes. I just was, again, it's his affability, and obviously that, what they're driving here is he is definitely a Federation, but at the same time, he's also an affable human. And even though she is part of the enemy, grouping, the Xenon people, that doesn't really matter. They're two humans in an extreme situation, and they come together and do the thing regardless of their alliances. And it's like, that's cool.
Which is a throwback for me to the scene in the original series when the Xeon pilots are flying over the fields of Earth and they see the mother and the child.
Right.
And the one guy goes, why don't we just land here and help them out a little bit? And his cohort is just like, well, why would we do that? And he goes, well, when you have a family, you'll understand. So the war gets pushed to the side a little bit. Let's let's try and get through this moment.
Politics aside.
Yeah, exactly. So it's lovely. They end up getting reunited. Or they end up getting united with their people, whereupon again they all kind of learn that, who is our actual commander? It's this guy. Chill dude. Along with a wonderful little moment just for fans, because they're all actually watching the Giran Zabi speech, the infamous Xeon speech, kind of reanimated and redone for this, which is a lovely way of tying things together and letting the fans know this is what's happening. This is where we are story wise. Pretty clever.
This is our time period that we're addressing.
Yeah, and again, to that point, it's one of those things where if you don't know the history, this is just okay. The Xeon are giving a speech. Things are happening in the world. It's useful information. It doesn't. You don't feel lost seeing this, which I appreciate.
Right.
And then we move on to episode 2. Make sure we've got this set up right. Yep, there we go. Which I enjoyed this episode, but let's be honest, it's basically let's get the team together episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's everybody on your team. Here's what they do. Here's things that are happening.
Yeah.
And they kind of don't like you right now, and they think you're going to die in the next 48 hours.
Yeah. And this is kind of the interesting thing of this story as well, is that, in this, Shiro is very much the young buck kind of commander. And he is, and I think that they make a point in this, is that he's like, I'm going to take point and go out there. And the other character's like, really?
Yeah.
Like, huh. That's an odd thing for a commander to do first thing out. But that's just kind of what Shiro is like. And they interpret that as being foolhardy, which is, again, understandable.
Right.
I mean, the crew chief, those people that are on the ground, the drunk crew master. I don't know who that guy is, but
yeah,
the old man. They are aware of what combat is like in this situation. So for somebody to be like, I'm just going to take point, be like, dude, you really want to probably like get some experience in this before you start, writing a check you can't cash.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a comment about the crew chief herself, where they're just like, she drove the last one away, drove him insane. He wasn't wounded, he just couldn't handle her anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
She had a mouth like a sailor, but a heart of gold.
Yeah. That definitely describes Karen. She's a tough one.
Yeah.
Tough cookie.
I can't wait for their love part. They do have a love part, right? Probably. I got hope. Maybe her and the Grim Reaper? No. Well, maybe. Love and mechas.
There we go. But yeah, basically, team gets pinned down, and we get to see kind of how the different characters react to that. We get to see Elidor and Michael in their kind of awesome little sonar tank.
Yeah.
And again, to go way deep into the Gundam again. One of the ideas in universe, basically the way they had to figure out why would we have melee units on or melee weapons on mecha in the future when you just have radar, is that radar doesn't work. There's this thing called Minovsky particles, which are created by the fusion engines that power all these machines, and those Minovsky particles jam radar, which the military very quickly realized and just started deploying everywhere. Like they would literally find ways of distributing Minovsky particles around like all of their secret camps and so forth. And of course, the problem is as soon as you do that, everyone knows where your secret camps are, so you have to put it everywhere else too. So it kind of got spread all over the place, and so radar is very unreliable. There are patches where it's
so basically, radar serves you to go, well, they're north,
right?
We think.
Like World War II radar. You know where they are distance. You know where they are kind of like direction, but you just really don't know exactly where they are.
Yeah, there's a thing over there.
Over there. Yes.
Yeah. So they have this tank that uses some version of sonar, so they can listen to like ground tremors and so forth, because a mecha walking is a very clear kind of a sound. Clear kind of
a multi-ton vehicle. It's clomp, clomp, clomp. It's kind of hard to hide it.
Well, interestingly, in real life in Vietnam, they actually put pressure and sound boxes along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. To try and determine movements as supply movements as we're coming down the trail. It didn't work, and the reason why it didn't work was because they did hear things, and they did pick up things, and they were elephants. Because the Ho Chi Minh Trail was along a well-known elephant just migration route, so they couldn't tell if it was what it was,
right?
Who was coming down and stuff. And it's very interesting, John. You'll learn very on why Eleanor is so well suited to this task.
Okay.
Like there's a reason why he's doing this and why he's good at it.
Well, I mean, that's
yeah.
They hinted that in episode 1. I mean, it's fairly clear.
Okay.
Did they? I don't remember that. I thought it comes out later on. Well, I mean, he sings a lot, but
yeah.
John's confused.
Well, no, thinking of singing, all I can think of is Genesis Climber, and the guy who's the singer from Genesis Climber.
Okay.
That's all I've got in my mind. I'm like, wow, okay, this is gonna get weird.
Shiro is unfortunately separated from his unit, and I think happens to him. I'm gonna have to skip.
Yes.
And
because he sees a girl. Whoops, in fact, I'm gonna skip that. There we go.
Yeah, wow.
Even further. There we go. Okay. Sees a girl bathing, shall we say? Which he has no problem watching.
It's a thing.
It's a thing, absolutely.
You see stuff in the jungle.
Changes
a man.
Right.
Stuff gets real.
Yeah, and then that'll come back later. We get a little fan service. In fact, indeed, to that point, I happen to have right here. Let's see if I can make this work. The Gundam 8th MS Team Perfect File. I believe it's Perfect
Ooh.
File.
Oh, wow.
Perfect File? Yeah, Perfect File. Which has all sorts of illustrations.
Wow.
From
nice.
From 8th MS Team. Very cool. Lots of different stuff. And the reason I point this out is because it's really cool. You get information on all the characters, so forth and so on. They have kind of an episode guide, screenshots from each episode. And each one has, one or two, sort of featured illustrations, right? So one sort of enlarged illustration. In this episode, can you guess what got an enlarged illustration?
Him being covered in mud.
Right.
Exactly. Yes. The one that has the least features to it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. The topless girl was heavily featured. So if anyone ever tells you that fan service is completely innocent, I don't know. Not sure.
It sold a lot of those magazines.
Sure did. But yes, we get our heroes returning. Shiro returning in his mold suit, doing just fine. Despite all of the heck he's just been through, because war is heck. But he manages to make it back after a jungle adventure. So again, one of those things where this episode does do a good job of conveying who Shiro is, who Karen is. Sanders, the big guy, has this string of luck that makes him called the Reaper,
the Grim
Reaper, because he keeps getting his teammates killed, which is a bit of a worry for him, as you might imagine.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get a sense of who's who and who's what's going on there. Let me move on to episode 3.
And it also gives me appreciation as he's coming back in his unit.
Yeah.
He's not really doing anything. It's like autopilot. It's just coming. It's just on the way home.
Yep.
He just sort of takes a nap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, I could have used that yesterday. Coming home with food poisoning. Car, just get me home, please.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is a cool little world detail. Is of course you don't have to literally drive the legs. Of course, there's a button that says move forward.
The little bicycle pedal and chains.
Right, exactly.
Keep pedaling, damn it.
Then we move on to episode 3, which is where the girl from before kind of shows back up again. We get more on that. They're sent out on a mission in the jungle to take out a supply route the Zeon have captured. They're trying to sort of destroy it or get it back from them. And of course, things don't go exactly to plan. Because what should happen, but girl shows up again with help.
With friends.
Exactly.
Why would you pop the hood on your Gundam just because somebody shows up outside? Why not activate the basically the bullhorn and be like, "What do you want? Get off! Let's go! Beat it! I'm doing stuff."
There should be a button that goes electricity.
Yeah.
Well, we know why, because Gundams don't have locks.
Yeah, apparently.
So you can just pop it open and get right in. So
the anti-personnel function of Gundams apparently is
Yeah,
fairly low.
very low.
Another Gundam can't get into it, but a person just walks
Right,
up and gets right on it.
Exactly. No problem at all. So this is your little episode in The Value of Friendship, where Shiro goes along with them to this village, realizes that Kiki is like the daughter of the local
Warlord.
and it's interesting because he's sort of a bandit chief, like the local sort of guerrilla leader, but he's also clearly a head yakuza.
Yeah,
like just right straight up. It's kind of that vibe all around.
Yeah.
So it's basically Shiro's trying to negotiate with them to make that work. What did y'all think of this episode?
I like the way that they're engaging with the locals, even though they're not the villagers themselves. They're sort of the self-appointed. We could free this village, and then that'll be great for us. I liked where they were going to try and engage that. I kind of his negotiation style and like the fact that he could negotiate, considering they could kick his ass any minute now because he's defenseless. Absolutely. It kind of left me sort of that 50-50. I'm like, it's okay. It's not great. It's interesting, but I like Kiki. She's cool.
Steve, any thoughts?
This was the first time I watched it. This was actually the episode that I almost said, okay, whatever, and walk away based on this scene. To John's point, it's one of those things where it's this kind of like we're talking, we're kind of going nowhere. We're going nowhere, and it's clear, and it should have been obvious to Shiro that they have things that they want. If he wants the things that he wants, then he has to give that up. And he finally figures it out after all this banter and stuff. And also, the fact that the chief is kind of he's not oblivious to the fact that there's the Zeons are everywhere, and there's not much he can do about it. And it just seems like that neither one of them is trying to grasp the opportunity which both of them can have.
Yeah.
But what saved it was that once that did happen, was that we got an awesome battle scene.
Yes.
And I will say I did also find it refreshing that Shiro is not portrayed as a kind of self-insert MC where he is a great leader and a great pilot and a great master negotiator and all that stuff. He just sucks at this. He just does not know how to do it,
which does very effectively come across.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing I actually do appreciate is that turns out soldiers in combat take a lot of dirty pictures. But
memories of home.
Hey, yeah, that's definitely memories of home.
I'm so glad my filter is on because I was just about to say something.
Anyway, one thing I appreciate is that basically Shiro says, "Okay, I'm going to go in to basically do a feint. At this time, start your barrage, and then I will kind of do what needs to be done as soon as I can. And when that time comes, because without them knowing that he's been captured, they're like, okay, let's start, firing weapons." He makes it back to help them. And one of the things I really appreciate is that they're not doing terribly.
Right.
They don't smash cut back to, oh my gosh, we're all almost dead. Shiro better show up. It's like, no, we planned for an hour. It's half an hour in, 45 minutes in. I hope he gets here soon because we're going to have to leave.
Yeah.
They didn't ratchet up the drama or the tension unnecessarily. They're like, thank you.
You don't have the sense.
A 45-minute or an hour-long firefight, they do not have nearly enough supplies. It just feels like there should have been the day packs that they put on the suits as they're going out should have had a crap ton more ammunition for an hour-long fight.
Well, you're right. Gundam is known for being rigorous in its military.
Because wow, that's a lot of firepower that you're going to be dumping out there.
Yeah, it is an anime series.
Yeah, I know.
It's anime.
I know. But I do think these things, when I see that, it's got the bazooka looking thing, be like, how many shots can you get out of that before you start to overheat the barrel? Never mind. Don't, just back away.
Yeah.
Back away from it. 10 million rounds later. Is this thing supposed to be melting? Yes. Yes, it is.
Moving on. But yes, we do get a really awesome fight scene. Partly because it's not just mecha, it's also the kind of gorillas on the ground.
Yeah.
And kind of seeing the contrast between all of them, all the stuff they're doing. It really helps to make the story feel, again, kind of grounded, that there's lots of things going on in one environment, as opposed to just giant robots, whacking at each other. It's nice. See here, what else we get? Yeah, man, this underwater fight, like, I really enjoyed that. Like the whole thing between the Shiro and the underwater unit and trying to take each other out, because again, there's this sense of dueling, this sense of, and the sense that it's not simply I'm going to take you out, I'm trying to kill you. It's how do I deal with this situation? How do I drive you off if I can? Which again is kind of a very military thing. It's like, yeah, I'll kill you if I can, but really, my goal is not to kill you. My goal is to secure this area or whatever.
Neutralize the threat,
Right.
any way possible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's kind of cool. Yeah, and that's the episode basically. They managed to get the count. So, any other thoughts on this?
Well, I'll be curious to see how it goes. I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far. So
yeah,
it goes.
it goes.
It goes. One of the things that you get out of this series that you don't get out of a lot of the other series is the attempt to show what it means to be inside the military. And this is not, when you had the original Gundam series, it was a bunch of refugees and this kid who's on the spectrum who's piloting the thing.
Yeah.
You have Bright, who is really a junior commander.
Yeah.
Riding around
most of the crew are refugees.
Right. So it's not like, these are all, seasoned warriors. War in the Pocket, you don't really have actually that many soldiers in War in the Pocket. So it's not. So this is like a refreshing series in that you're talking about people who went through training.
Mm-hmm.
These are actual bases. These are people who have actual ranks. These are things that they actually have to do, take into consideration, so forth and so on. And the end credit scenes is really great because what it is that it's one person's POV with a camera, and you see camp life going on around them. Around Shiro, and you see various things going on. Like you can't show it here, but basically a pinup is put in front of you. But that's the whole point. It's just kind of showing how people get mischievous. This is their downtime. This is what they do, and you notice one of the things that he's doing is that he's signing off on something. Yeah, it could be a requisition order. It could be a order for something else. It's something that requires his signature, that because he is the officer in charge.
Oh, and
whatever. Right there. So this is what they're trying to convey here is that this is military life. This isn't just Amuro on white base, having a hissy fit. This is a thing. This is what these people are supposed to be doing.
Yeah. When Shiro says that's an order, people do it.
Right. Right. There's no bright slap.
Yeah. Also, easy to look at. Like I love the just the overall visual style. Character design by the great Toshihiro Kawamoto, who in 3 years later would character design on a little show called Cowboy Bebop. Yep. So definitely helps there. Just a really it's quality. I think quality is kind of the watchword of 8th MS team in general. Where even if it's not your cup of tea, you can recognize, they were thoughtful on this show a lot, which is very cool. So yeah, as Steve says, it definitely goes places. But these first couple episodes are very much okay. Let's get a sense of the characters and the world and so forth.
All right.
John, do you have any questions at this point about like what might be at this point in the show? Where's your mind at? Where are you like? I wonder where this is going to go.
Well, I mean, once you explain that they're Federation from some somewhere in orbit, some colony in orbit. The only thought that had really come to my mind is like, okay, these guys pulled the jungle mission. I'm going to assume there's probably like a desert mission. There's probably like something that's, Oceania, somewhere in the Pacific kind of mission. And like, this is, we're just looking at this one like drop unit, the 08th. They're down doing their thing, like a lot of these other units are in a lot of other places. Like, okay, so this is like I'd heard for War in the Pocket. This is just this little chunk of a much grander thing going on. So I'm curious to see what other parts of the grander scheme come in on this or don't. So I'm waiting to see how that goes, how that develops. So
cool.
No questions as of yet. I got a lay of the land, understanding the characters. Okay.
What do you think will happen? Like, what do you think is the story of this OVA? Where do you think it's going to go?
I have a feeling it's going to go sort of slightly Vietnamish.
Okay. In what way?
That it's going to be. There's going to be a lot of technology. There's going to be a lot of ammunition and a lot of fighting thrown at everything, and it's going to have an inconclusive end.
Okay.
So it's not like the Zaku is going to sweep in and wipe them out. They're not going to sweep in and wipe the Zakus out. That it's just going to be this constant cat and mouse game through the jungle, and that it's great that Kiki and her crew will lend some assistance. Who knows whether it's going to be we'll trade you this military supply item and you give us intel or whatever. So they'll act as sort of like ad hoc scouts. Don't know. But it feels like this is going to be, look at the pointlessness of this. They're struggling in this harsh environment, and for what? But I don't know.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll see how that goes. Let's see where we go with that.
It's probably going to be like rainbows and lollipops. And everything's beautiful at the very end.
Totoro shows up.
Pretty much. Yes.
Like, oh, it's so sweet. Everybody gets married. They have kids. They live in the jungle. It's beautiful.
Right.
Oh, well, that's great.
Either that or it'll be 86.
Yeah. I was thinking there was a lot of similarities to 86 in this.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Definitely. Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. Come back in a little bit. Talk about some more recent anime news. See you then once I make that happen.
Sweet.
By clicking this button here and that button over there and doing this.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we'll keep the mics on. That's fine. We'll put the music on as well. Hey, everyone, I know you can hear us, but we're going to keep the music going and all that stuff going. We'll be right back. Nice. Had a little bit of musical accompaniment there. Let's come on back from there and just talk a little bit. Yeah, that was really nice, Steve. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing what you can do with GarageBand on your cell phone.
It really is.
I felt like I was in Liyue.
Yes.
Talking with Jean Lee about contracts
Mm-hmm.
in the Jade Chamber.
Yes.
With Ningguang.
And osmanthus wine.
Exactly.
In that wonderful voice that I can't even do.
No, yeah, there's just like silk.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't played Genshin, there's a character, Zhongli, who has just the most amazing voice. He could just read off like the dictionary. You'd just be like, oh, thank you. That's so nice.
Here's the ingredients to craft macaroni and cheese. Oh, yes, please. Keep reading.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
I'm going to see if I can find. Here we go. Just for fun, real quick. I'm going to share with everybody the amazingness. Oh, I can't do that? I don't think I can. Let's find out. Let me know, folks, if you can hear the audio on this. Did any audio come through on that one? Nope. Okay. This is one of the vagaries of trying to do. You know what? I can do it a different way. One moment.
As I say, if I had John Lee in my character barn, I could pull it up on the phone and play it.
Character barn.
At this point in time, it's a stable full of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to mute you two guys just real quick because apparently there's a weird audio glitch on that. But
a new contract. Okay. I'm still on leave, but I can accompany you for a while. What name should I use on the contract? I have a great many names.
So hopefully you all could hear that and the amazing, silky smooth voice of Keith Silverstein as the great Zhongli.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the week, at least from an anime perspective. I know we've all had kind of...
Yeah, we've all been all over everywhere.
Yes, it's been quite the week for some of us. But let's focus on the anime and then the manga and all the anime-related stuff. What have you all been up to? John, you want to start?
Let's see. Catching up with as much as I possibly can. Prima Doll, Call of the Night. Oh man, I'm just really enjoying Call of the Night.
Cool.
I just a guy I work with told me about it, and I was like, I'm really into it. I love the intro and the outro by Creepy Nuts. It's really good. I'm like,
cool.
Okay, cool. Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. I'm getting more into that. I'm only on episode 3 on it so far, but I'm like, okay, I really want to see where their relationship between Princess and Lizard Boy is going to go. You know what I mean? It's like he's the Lizard Knight, and he has the most connection with her so far. I mean, we've only just been introduced to, I think, Wolf Boy just showed up. Wolf Knight.
Yep. Okay.
So I like romance, so I'm hoping that there's a romance thing there going to happen. So, My Stepmom's Daughter's My Ex, catching up with that. Devil's a Part-Timer, Black Summoner, Harem and Labyrinth. You name it, I'm trying to catch up with it. Overlord. So the usual sort of usual. I got my Kickstarter campaign for the Fox's Wedding.
Okay.
So it's a compendium of yokai that are mostly related to Kitsune.
Okay.
Cool. I also got with it the author's prior 3 books that cover the whole spectrum of yokai.
Nice. Yeah.
Beautiful color illustrations. The Fox's Wedding is a hardbound edition, and the other 3 are paperbacks. But I'm looking forward to that. I've got Spy Family to get through. At the Big Lick Comic-Con in Roanoke last weekend, met a Marvel artist who worked on a comic called Uber, not the car driving, but the comic that was fleshing out the idea of the super soldier serum. So taking it, not away, but taking it in a different direction than having Cap show up and beat up, the Nazis. What would happen if the Germans had developed their own super serum? What would happen if England had developed their own? Japan, Russia. So that you end up, he was trying to explain it. He's like, if you can find this comic, it really covers a broad spectrum of the idea of like these super soldiers now, they become the primary weapons. And that now all the World War, everything that we know of the technology of the machinery, that is to support their super soldiers. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. So a friend of mine went on to eBay and was like, listen, dude, you can get 13 issues. They're only like $15. I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
So now I've got like piles of things to read. Well, that was this week. Just catching up anime, dealing with the usual matters of life, the unusual matters of life, and then manga and comics. So,
gotcha. Ooh, Steve, how about you?
Well, watching anime with the pretty lady who gives me food, and she's loving Comey Can't Communicate. We just got the cultural festival school thing, and I was telling you guys earlier, I had to explain to her how that's actually a thing, and she was kind of, I think, a little bit sad because we don't do that here, and but then again, her class was kind of sucky. When 95% of your class is on the verge of failing 8th grade, it's
wow.
Yeah. Anyway,
their school trip is to like the local lockup. You guys go straighten out. This is your future. Oh wow, scare them straight. You go, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it is it's an interesting collection of apathetic people. It really is. So watching that, of course, watching 08th Gundam, and reading up from what I got from Otakon, the latest omnibus I was able to find of Kurosaki Corp Service delivery service,
cool,
which I love, and I for some godforsaken reason created an account for myself on Right Stuff.
Okay,
and discovered that the actual next new omnibus of stuff that I haven't read, is about to come out at the end of this month, and I'm like, cool, oh my god, great! And then I saw the Comey Android. I think, it's like it's like $55 for that, and usually I'm like, I don't care about that, the androids, and I was gonna really want to get the figure in, but this thing is effing cute. I'm just like.
Well, fortunately, Steve, it's already out of stock.
Thank God. So what about like 5 of them?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting to see when they release the Max Factory Figma figure.
Yeah.
Damn.
That'll go out of stock in 3 minutes.
Yeah, and it's also not going to be $55.
No,
it's going to be like $100. But
well,
they dropped Marin-chan from My Dress Up Darling. They dropped her Friday, and already the pre-orders are like almost gone. I'm like, wow.
Yep.
So in the vein of stewarding the next generation of otaku, my niece, who is 9 years old, is huge into Pokemon, into the game, and so the reason why I was on Right Stuff. And so I got her the first 3 volumes of the Pokemon Adventure. So
the manga?
Made sure it was in English, because that would have been very confusing. And
it's a good time for her to learn Japanese, Steve, right now.
Well, right now. Well, actually, her nannies are usually French, so she actually can speak a little bit of French.
Cool.
Already.
Get Japanese nannies.
Yeah.
You need a Japanese butler.
That's right. Yeah. Wait a minute. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not sure where I want that to go.
Start giving her Hayate the combat butler.
There we go. Yeah. Hayate, I trust. Yeah.
So that's kind of been my week. For that.
Cool. John and Chat's doing a lot of reading. Yokohama Kadashi Kiko, Totsukuni no Shoujo, Cyril Arun, who's from the Biscuit Hammer, also awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Trigun, Invasion Square Girls, Sleepy Princess,
yeah.
Cool.
Interview with the Monster Girls. Wow.
Damn.
Keeping up to date with a lot of stuff. I have been reading actually. You mentioned stuff from Otakon. I also got a chance to read the first omnibus volume of Yokohama Kadashi Kiko by Country Cafe. So got that digitally. This was a beautiful morning for us. Blue skies, like 71 degrees, and so I spent the morning out on my patio reading Quiet Country Cafe.
Oh,
I can't imagine a better, the cicadas chirping in the background and the whole 9 yards.
Pokemon running around like wild, just enjoying it all. Digimon mulching things or something.
Digimon going on digital adventures. Also went through some of the manga I picked up at Otakon. I'll try to be brief. We'll start with Rose Hip Rose, a seinen, well, sort of, I will say upper shonen kind of a thing. Like there's nudity, there's gore, but it's definitely aimed at more that high school audience. Basically, disaffected teenage boy sees a girl, like a teenage girl, diffuse a hostage situation, where like she's called in by the police to diffuse the situation. And of course, she ends up transferring to his class in school, but he can't tell anyone because that's her secret. And of course, that's her. But like she is a hostage negotiator for like the SWAT team. Like this is people like grabbing kids and holding guns to their heads, kind of serious hostage negotiation stuff. And she's always able to save it and also keep the she saves the hostages and the criminals. She never actually kills. So it's kind of cool. I mean, it's very ecchi. Like there's a lot of like the guy at the beginning of the story is making money by taking up panty shots and selling them online. So they show a lot of that, right? So it's that kind of a thing, but definitely enjoyable. I mean, there's a certain amount of just kind of adolescent action etchiness in it.
Right.
Not a lot of characters, but I enjoyed it. I don't know that I will like desperately follow it, but kind of enjoyed that. What
You're waiting for the anime now to see how the interpretation goes.
That one actually kind of interesting. What I did love was Mythical Beast Investigator. Oh my word! This is a young girl who is sent out as a Mythical Beast Investigator because there are various monsters around called Mythical Beasts. They occasionally go rogue. She is sent to kind of figure out what's going on and try to resolve the situation. And it is her remit to resolve it in a way that is best for both parties. So, in other words, if a beast is just like on a rampage killing people, she may have to kill it. If they have done something to rile it up, the humans have done something to rile it up, then she's like, okay, you stop doing that, you stop doing that, they'll go back to their lair, everyone's cool, right? Okay. It's a little like Ancient Majesty's Bride, right? In terms of like magic and things, except people die.
Oh.
Like you're getting involved in very dangerous magical creatures. There is a very good chance you will not make it out of it alive. So I really like that aspect of it. Like this is serious stuff.
There are stakes.
This is the Grimm's fairy tale version of monsters that like eat children, right? It's that kind of thing.
Right. Wow.
Also saddened to find out this is volume 2, and it is also the last volume.
Oh.
It's only 2 volumes. A lot based on a light novel series apparently is going on. I don't know why. I will say they put their money into this.
Holy moly.
Yeah, they did.
Like there's some detail on this manga. It's really impressive. Really, really cool. So just FYI, it just really nicely done. So I don't know where that's gonna go, but nice. Hyperdolls. This was an anime OVA. This was brought over. The anime of this was brought over very early on in the 90s. It is basically a superhero parody. So 2 alien girls, 2 alien chicks who are supposed to save Earth, but would rather be eating hamburgers. Basically, that kind of premise.
Okay.
Basically, they're from a super advanced civilization, and like a monster sort of goes on rampage. They're sent to Earth to take that down, and there are other monsters around, so they're meant to stay on Earth. They occasionally get involved in the Japanese police, who are basically ineffective, and so they have to kind of step in and solve everything. So it's very silly and goofy. And they have ridiculous monsters, Catfish Man, that kind of stuff. It's hilarious. Who of course just says
like One Punch Man, just
right,
these weird character monsters.
Who of course just says catfish, catfish, catfish.
Oh,
So it's just very, very goofy. There's Eel Man tearing out of his clothes.
Eel.
Yeah. And I thought it would be funny, and then I read the intro where he said, actually, like this is all a metaphor for Japan-U.S. relations. The alien girls are America, and they've been stationed in Japan to keep the peace, but they don't really want to be there, but like they have to be there, and they're absurdly powerful compared to Japan. And he said, I didn't come up with this intending to make it about that, but the more I wrote it, the more I realized actually this is kind of funny, and kind of that ended up being kind of a thing that he weaved into the story, kind of behind the scenes. It's really weird, but it fits. Like it really fits. So yeah, bizarre, and also just funny, just very goofy '90s sort of comedy there. And then I didn't want to talk about this, but I'm going to briefly. Knights.
Yes.
The reason I was uncomfortable talking about it is because I love the art in this. I really like the stories in this. I found the characters very interesting. There's some neat reveals in this. For example, it's set in a very medieval world, church, all that kind of stuff. And then the Black Knight shows up. And no one is quite sure why he's called the Black Knight. And there's a whole thing about this. And he rescues this girl who's going to be a witch, and the girl is very, very happy about that. Very glad to be rescued. And then they reveal why he is called the Black Knight.
Huh.
Yeah. So I found that very cool. And then it ends up being virulently anti-religion. The church is evil. Everyone in the church is either deluded or a greedy jerk who just wants, money and power. Anyone who believes in the church is fooling themselves. There is no God. There is nothing else. Religion is an opiate of the masses.
Wow.
Also, everyone in the church has no problem torturing innocent people. It just lays it on real thick.
Wow.
To the point where I was like, I'm not comfortable with this. It's such an extreme take on religion versus non-religion that I felt uncomfortable after a while. Also, it kind of turns into torture porn, where they capture this girl and torture her to make her not even confess, but just to make her suffer until she dies. And that young girl that you saw, that's what they are doing. And then other stuff happens to other people, and it's just I like so many things about it, but the direction they took, I just after 150 pages, I was I don't enjoy reading this anymore. It's a shame. I'm sure other folks wouldn't have that problem and would enjoy it. But it turned me off. The top way, unfortunately. So, FYI.
That sucks. Time to put it up on the auction.
There we go. Yeah, that's very much what will happen. Also, watch up to episode 11 of Rose of Versailles, which is where I'm stopping. But it's very interesting. Rose of Versailles, definitely a fascinating anime series. definitely worth getting into. I might jump forward to some of the Osamu Dezaki stuff because the director changed in episode 19, so I might check out some of those episodes. But just kind of the overall tone got a little. It was already it's a ridiculous show, but
yeah, I was gonna say it's Versailles, so it's definitely over the top, and it's just very without spoiling it because I actually like it.
Sure,
no, but it's to be fair, it's an acquired taste, it definitely.
Well, it gets better after episode 19, after the space monsters show up and they start this commune on the moon.
There we go. Speaking of that, I was thinking about this show. I do think I understand the appeal, though. You have the history, right? The French court. That you also have, frankly, let them eat sushi. That's funny, John. Sorry. It's gonna take me a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Getting back. So you have court. You also have just kind of general. There is something about watching absurdly rich people, right? Real Housewives, all that kind of thing.
Right.
Just to warn people, if you decide to get into it, this is ridiculous decisions are made because these are people who just don't honestly know any better because they're ridiculously wealthy and they live in this literal plane of existence outside of everyone else, and you're just gonna look at them and just go, well, I guess if I lived that way and I didn't venture outside the castle walls,
yeah,
your own isolated, insulated little world.
Yeah. Also, and I believe that's also part of it. This maps perfectly to like private high school life, right? All of the drama and
that's a very good way to put it. Yeah,
because she literally one of the major plot lines in the early show is about one girl refusing to talk to another girl.
Yeah, that is a very good way to put it. Yeah.
So I think a lot of teenage girls were like, "Oh, I recognize this."
I don't have to watch Heathers. I can watch that.
Yeah, very much so. So I can see that connecting as well.
Yeah.
Besides just the very soap opera aspect of what are they going to do next? What to see what ridiculous decision is somebody going to make at the next point? And I will say, to get back to the history point, I actually pulled up the Wikipedia article for Marie Antoinette, and like they're hitting a lot of the actual historical plot points pretty well. The characters are there. What happens is represented, accurately. Obviously, it's not word for word, but like Madame du Barry is a main character, and all the stuff with her, and then all the various characters. Like, yes, these are the things that actually happened. So, thumbs up to them there.
Cool.
Until people start doing sad, stupid things.
Yeah. But again, historically true. A lot of times too. Like Marie Antoinette was not really connected to the will of the people. Well,
she was not dialed into the mood of the times.
No.
I love that. Let them eat sushi. It'll be fine with the unagi and brown sauce. It is delightful. We need protein. We need real food. Pish posh.
It's nothing to lose your head over. Well, it is. It actually is. I'm trying to remember whether it was Licorice Recoil that I watched this week that actually had an homage to Utna.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
That there was a point going on in the show, and all of a sudden there's a brick wall, and I'm like, brown brick wall, and then whoop, two shadow characters show up and they're talking. Yeah. I'm like, oh my god, that's an Utna reference.
Oh, to that point, Toga, the long red-haired guy in Utna,
right.
He is pulled directly from Rosa Versailles, his character design. Like they took a character design and just made him red-haired. Like,
we love him. Let's use him.
Dang. So that was kind of a funny realization. Oh, okay. Yeah, I recognize him. But Y'all hear that? Oh, good. That popped us right back here. Welcome to the latest anime news for the week ending August 14th, 2022. No, I totally did not just look at the date. Let's start with some weird anime news. And this is the big news of the week, and it is last 2 weeks, actually. And it is kind of weird. Crunchyroll bought Right Stuff. I mean, they just bought Right Stuff. For those not familiar, Crunchyroll, which is sort of Funimation now, kind of.
Yeah.
Announced they're going to buy Right Stuff, which is a major anime retailer, with the purpose of expanding its e-commerce service.
Yep.
No terms were disclosed, so we don't know how much it cost. The one big change here, though, is in addition to that, is that Right Stuff will no longer sell any erotica products, so no 18+ material. They're basically spinning out a service called ArrowAnimeStore.com, which will fulfill all of those orders for Right Stuff. It is possible that will become its own service. I don't know, but that's going to be what takes care of that side of things. We're going to phase all that stuff out.
Oh no, all my adult Dakimakura. No!
Obviously for now, there's still, Right Stuff and Crunchyroll stores are separate. That hasn't merged yet. That is a thing. Should also point out that this has real interesting implications for Nozomi. Nozomi being Right Stuff's licensing arm.
Yeah.
So ANN reached out to them. Crunchyroll said there's no news about Nozomi at the time, but they are evaluating all of the rights, but no other updates at this point. Now, the Dirty Pair Kickstarter, they confirmed the Crunchyroll's acquisition of Right Stuff does include Nozomi by extension. So Nozomi is part of Right Stuff.
Okay.
Nozomi is still handling all of their current obligations, and as typical in these situations, right? Like any existing things have to be completed no matter what happens. Like you can't just kick that out the door.
Right.
So all that stuff will be done, but kind of any future deals, and no one's quite sure what's going to go on there. So let's talk about that. I mean, what do you think is going on there?
Hi there. Welcome to Crunchyroll Conglomerate. We own it all.
Well, Sony's got deep pockets. I mean, if they can do the thing, they can do the thing. But what we talked about before the stream started, it's like, Funimation, as we talked about way before, Funimation licensing thing, Crunchyroll showing things. It's like, okay, Crunchyroll has their own store, Funimation has their own store. It's like, I could easily see if you said, listen, we're just tired of all these things happening all at the same time. We want things in nice, neat little boxes.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll, you show stuff. Nozomi and Funimation, you license the stuff, Right Stuff, you handle selling. You do DVDs, books, everything. We don't want this cross-platform thing on like a, Crunchyroll try and manage this. And I know Crunchyroll, it's not the biggest player for product. So there are some things that I've had on back order with Crunchyroll for 6 to 8 months that are readily available on other sites.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah. So they're not getting a lot of command for their e-commerce that I think Right Stuff is.
Yeah.
So that if you just fold out that Crunchy store and then give it off to Right Stuff, Crunchy can just do what it does well. And Nozomi and Funimation can do what they do well and leave their next partner to do its thing. That's like, that makes some sense to me.
Yeah. It should be pointed out that the according to ANN, they're going. This will be widening Crunchyroll's e-commerce product offerings, whatever that means.
It's odd.
Yeah.
What's to say? Because I think I mean, hopefully, it will widen what their newly acquired e-commerce toy
Titles.
has license access to. I don't,
True,
I don't know.
True.
You know what I mean? So that
Well,
would, I don't know.
Actually, you bring up a really good point. The Crunchyroll store focuses on stuff that Crunchyroll has
License.
licensed, and also like Crunchyroll branded stuff, right?
Yes.
So you have those two things. Right Stuff, I mean, they sell Nozomi stuff, but they're much more about here's a whole bunch of anime merchandise. Like they're not really tied to a licensing thing.
Yeah.
So it's actually a really interesting point is that this doesn't, I mean, it would help Crunchyroll sell more things, but it's more broadening into the broader anime e-commerce space, not just we're going to sell more figurines of these shows we have licensed.
Right.
Interesting.
I bet it'd be really weird to have whatever this new division right stuff becomes, have them sell things that Nozomi, Funimation, Crunchyroll has no connection to.
Right. And
yeah, be like, oh, that'd be really strange.
And in Right Stuff's announcement, Right Stuff will continue to provide the same wide variety of products we've been offering for 35 years, except erotica. So apparently there's no plans to just restrict it.
I don't see why you would.
Right, yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
But it makes it interesting that this is, and again, it's kind of this is Crunchyroll expanding. This isn't just we need a better storefront.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they're turning into the big anime. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah, it's the big anime, and it's, and I think if they're going in the direction which I think we all agree that they're going in, which is letting them each piece do its thing, then I think it should be fine. You know, Nozomi does the licensing, Right Stuff sells the stuff, and you know, Crunchyroll just kind of adds to the stuff to sell. It just shows the stuff. I mean, if you are willing to do that and you know, just let them be, then it would be successful. And especially if Right Stuff is going to continue selling stuff. Oh, we don't have the anime. Crunchyroll doesn't have the anime, but here we've got the manga for you. Here you go.
Oh, dude, of course. This, you know,
you're starting to think what I'm starting to think. I'm like, wait a minute.
Totally, you're absolutely right. This totally makes sense. It's also the physical. Crunchyroll's like, we don't really do physical releases. Right Stuff says, hey,
right,
we can stock that for you. We can ship that out. So yeah, that makes a lot of point.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
How about also, Right Stuff is a big going player. If they can sell things, get licensed material from other things that Nozomi, Funimation, and Crunchyroll don't have, to what degree can you make that a package selling point to whoever is not licensed through you to say, listen, we're from Nozomi, we're from Funimation, we want to license this thing, and we can give you this broadcast opportunity and these sales opportunities for the merch.
True.
Here's the entire package deal. You sign this license, and we've got Right Stuff is a
You're
known
absolutely right. Crunchyroll Originals suddenly have a lot more behind them. Yeah. That's a great point.
I was just like,
you're
wait
absolutely
a minute.
right. Yeah.
This is nice leverage because you can offer the entire package deal. It's like you sign with us, you get all this. It's like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, because Netflix does not do that.
Nope.
Yep.
Netflix is like, you know, welcome to Netflix jail.
Yeah.
Well, but here's my question. What does Right Stuff get out of this? You know, why did Sean Kleckner, who runs Right Stuff, why did he sign off on this deal?
Dump trucks full of money from Sony.
I mean, I think, you know.
I imagine that quite literally, it was the offer you can't refuse. Listen, that we can guarantee that, you know, we're going to fold this into this operation and Right Stuff will continue. The name will be out there. Here's the amount you're going to get cashed out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, what more do you want? Success, and your brand moves on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it'd be nice to be in the back room, putting VHS cassettes in envelopes and mailing them out. But, I'm sure he's probably tired of those days.
I wonder when's the last time they put a VHS cassette in a box. But
if they've been in business for 35 years, I'm going to guess 30 years ago. Somewhere close.
Well, this is what I wonder. Like, does Sean retire? A, but also B, does this mean he's like, look, retail's hard. This guarantees employment for all of my employees as long as Sony is in business. Yep.
Yeah.
Not,
basically.
that's ridiculous, but you get the idea. Where it's like this does provide a lot more solidity to write stuff moving forward.
Well, he could also do the Paul Allen thing, where he just takes the money and he starts going around and doing like philanthropic stuff and investigating sunken vessels and whatever. You know what I mean? Like that could be an opportunity to lift the yoke off of him a little, to do other side project launch. Maybe he's had an entrepreneurial idea that he just hasn't had the chance to launch, and now's a good time.
Here's the other thing. Like, Sean's been the one pushing like the Dirty Pair Kickstarter, a lot of these, the Otaku no Video Kickstarter, where he's like, we can get this thing to a really nice release. This frees up his time to do that more, to say, hey, here's an amazing piece of anime. Let's get this over here. And with Funimation behind all of that might also become a lot easier.
Yep. Could be quite a win-win. We'll see.
Yeah.
Until the antitrust suits come in.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, that seems unlikely, I would think.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that's probably going to be anybody's rushing to the courthouse for that. Sherman Antitrust Act of 1912. No, sit down.
They're fairly different things. And also, I don't think anyone will be like, the Crunchyroll store was a major competitor to Write Stuff. No.
Nope. No, they did their thing, but it wasn't any competitor to really anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Good question, John in chat. Does that mean the new Dirty Pair original series release became the property of Sony? Probably not, because that was a deal signed before any of this happened. So the right to be with it, wherever that goes, and Sony doesn't technically. I mean, Sony would have responsibility to like complete that contract, but they wouldn't necessarily own it in that sense. Depending on how you define ownership and property, but still interesting times. It should also be pointed out, the Crunchyroll Funimation acquisition was 2 years ago, announced 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, December 2020.
Yep. It's not been that long.
Yeah. This is moving fairly fast.
But I mean, when it happened, we all had been thinking and talking about this for at least a year before that. And I'm sure Sony was like, now that we got our ducks in a row, let's just, put things in motion and keep the motion going.
Yeah.
Like, okay, gotcha.
And also in fairness, like, again, if they were acquired, and if Funimation is going around saying, okay, let's add to their portfolio, now that they have this, it's like, okay, let's keep adding to it. Like, why stop? To your point.
I was to say, you've done the panel about overseas contribution to anime sales and funding, and it's like, this might be a good time for these acquisitions to bump up our side of the sea, anime contribution. You're like, go man, go.
Exactly. Anyway, that's interesting.
Yes, it is.
Definitely a remarkable little news story. Also, a fun little thing this week. An advertisement was posted on the official Ghibli Park website, which was a video ad for the new Ghibli Park, produced by Hayao Miyazaki with music by Joe Hisaishi and narration by Toshio Suzuki. It is basically a remake of the Totoro opening with the sort of beige background and all the little animals moving around, for the new Ghibli Park. Very cute. There's a cat train, the cat bus, carrying characters with Spirited Away and Totoro and so forth going across the screen. Really fun. There was actually a similar version of the ad done in 2001 to promote the Ghibli Museum.
Oh.
So kind of, connecting in history. If you want to check that out, check it out. It's very cute. They've also shown some screenshots of the various places in the park, the Hill of Youth, the Dondoko Forest, and the Giant Ghibli Warehouse, all available. And those are the storefront from Whisper the Heart, the house from Totoro, and the sort of indoor area with a bunch of different places from Totoro or from Ghibli. So it's coming.
Totoro Warehouse, you can buy a 6 foot tall stuffed Totoro. Just let there be a 6 foot tall stuffed Totoro.
I do wonder how much merch they're going to sell. Given Miyazaki's like anti-merch stance, I wonder. Like, obviously they will. I'm not saying they won't.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering how, like, will it be tucked out of the way? Will it be like right there in front of you? I'm curious.
I would imagine crowd demand would have to somewhat dictate that. So if it gets a small corner of someplace and they're like, listen, this is out of control. People are waiting like an hour in line to buy a small stuffed Totoro.
Yeah,
we need to do something. I think Miyazaki would probably relent a little bit if they were like, listen, this is unmanageable. They're having a bad time at the park because of this thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it was like his plan to work from the Ghibli Museum behind glass. I'll just draw there. It won't be a problem, and everyone's
tapping on the window. Put my face on it. Put my face on it.
Do the thing. Do the animation thing. That's not moving. Do the thing. Shut up. God, leave me alone.
So yes, that is kind of weird.
Doing live action animation is very difficult on the creative arms and wrists. It's very hard.
Very hard. Let us move on to some anime announcements. My favorite part of the show. The Tower of God's getting a second anime season.
Yeah, I know.
Like, geez. It'll be streamed on Crunchyroll. The Webtoon platform will debut the first volume of the graphic novel. And so, yeah, it's coming back. There's not a lot more information about this. They did a poster and a little teaser. More Tower of God.
No, I mean, they left it in a way they're not at the top of the tower. So,
okay, there we go.
Finishing that up is, I know there's, plenty of anime that have no second season or third or whatever that ever ends up. The manga goes off and finishes, or light novel finishes, but the anime never does. So maybe we'll get a finish on this one. Be kind of nice. Completion. Thank you.
Am I wrong? I thought Tower of God was like hugely popular when it first came out, and then interest just tanked. Am I thinking something else?
It just fell off. No, it fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, this is going to be never saying anything.
Tower of God and God of High School. Both of them. They're Crunchyroll exclusives. God of High School, its kinetic fighting form for that show was amazing. Plot wasn't real good. So it's the same thing where people are like, my God, the movement's up, the money they spend trying to get this look. And then like, it was so. There we go.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the second season of Tower of God goes.
Interesting. Maybe they can pull it off. Maybe they can be like, no, there's something here. It just needs more time to breathe.
I mean, I think it really did have some interesting elements to it. It just... it was one of those sort of earlier Crunchyroll exclusives. I don't know what they were shooting for, because some of it seemed a tad bit disjointed. But I think you've got enough of the groundwork done, enough threads there that a second season done by a good studio really will pull it together and give it some good cohesion.
Okay.
Money, they've got, now that they're part of Sony, presumably that deal was in the works, before the merger, but. Now that there's the money, maybe that means that we're going to get some decent upscaling on like their stories. Come on, people, work with me.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I was getting a new Psychopaths film.
I saw that.
Did not realize how much Psychopath there is out there. There are, I believe, let me see here. Check. Let me go back.
There's as many as Gundam.
There's a surprising a lot.
There's a lot.
I'm going back. There are 3 TV series. And 1, 2, 3 movies. Looks like anime movies, yes.
Yeah.
Plus, manga, etc.
Right.
So there's quite a bit out there, and this is for the 10th anniversary of Psychopaths.
It's been 10 years.
Yeah,
10
no
years.
joke.
Yep.
Holy cow.
It's been 10 years.
Imagine
Doesn't
that.
feel like 10 years. Jesus.
Oh,
We're
old.
Oh God.
I have a Psychopaths T-shirt. That's all I know of the show.
That's it. Yeah. Original series was 22 episodes. The second season was 11 episodes.
Now a lot of people pretend that the second season didn't exist.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They
It's kind of like Highlander 2. Nobody really.
Yes.
Yeah. It's on that level.
The also kind of not helped was the Psychopaths 3 was snapped up by Amazon Prime Video, so it kind of went into that jail for a while back in 2019.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of muted the interest out here. But hey, cool. More Psychopaths.
Yeah, good on them.
Yeah. Also, I'm so glad to hear this. Skate the Infinity is getting an OVA and a second season. Main staff is returning. More Skate the Infinity.
Awesome.
I think you mean radical.
Yes. Wow. Did we saw custom decks at Otakon, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Why did we not go by and see if there were any Skate the Infinity decks? There had to have been.
Yeah.
There had to have been. Well, the only one I saw was the
if they did, boy, they just
hentai
missed
one.
out. Oh well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Guess that's good skating.
That's good skating. Absolutely.
Wow.
Also, we are getting 2 more Haikyuu films called the Final Haikyuu films. Shockingly.
It's never fun.
3.0 plus 1.0? Oh,
Yeah.
Hold on.
Goodbye, all of Haikyuu. The tagline is "Who will we become tomorrow?" Presumably volleyball.
It ends with the bus carrying them going off a cliff.
Coming back from nationals, they've won nationals, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, the next is the Olympics." Bus off glitch.
I got a quote from ANN here. Production IG's first TV anime adaptation of the manga premiered in April 2014. The second season, October 2015. The third season, October 2016. The first half of the fourth season, January 2020. The second half was planned to premiere in July, but was delayed due to COVID. Premiered in October 2020. The manga has also inspired a series of stage plays, compilation anime films, several video anime, and a clay animated short.
A clay
animated short.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
You're right, John. That is one season of Dallas, in fairness.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Damn.
yeah, there's a lot of Haikyuu out there.
I've never seen any Haikyuu at all. Obviously, I
okay.
Well, I must be missing something.
Well, you're fine.
You're perfectly okay.
I mean,
Absolutely fine.
comedy is about to take off. I mean, as a show, so
Exactly.
comedy.
Also getting some other new anime announced. 2 of them I'm familiar with. One I am not. I'm just going to read this one cold. The Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess, a Yuri fantasy set of novels, is getting a TV anime next year. I am just going to read off the Yen Press description of the story again. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Despite her supposed ineptitude with regular magic, Princess Anistia defies the aristocracy's expectations by developing magicology, a unique magical theory based on memories from her past life.
Huh.
Okay. One day, she witnesses the brilliant noblewoman Euphilia unjustly stripped of her title as the kingdom's next monarch. That's when Anistia concocts a plan to help Euphilia regain her good name, which somehow involves them living together and researching magic. Little do these two ladies know, however, that their chance encounter will alter not only their own futures, but those of the kingdom and the entire world. That's way less wacky than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And it's Yuri, you say?
Yuri. Now, granted, when ANN says Yuri, that could just mean kind of girls' love. It could mean just girls living together and whatever. I don't know.
Wacky adventures of two girl roommates.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nana. No,
yes.
wait a minute.
I'll also point out that both girls are definitely, these are teenagers. Like, no question.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah. It's fun.
I mean, if it's an anime, we're going to end up watching the first episode of it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Character designs by Naomi Ide of Domestic Girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
And
nice.
So,
and she has the Ide power, so we know what she can
exactly.
do. So.
Director directed Aho Girl and Ahiru no Sora.
Oh, nice.
And the writer is the writer of My Youth Romantic Comedy is Wrong, and as I expected, rather. So, cool. The ones I do know about and can speak, Laverne and Shirley, basically.
With magical wackiness.
Hey! Actually, I'm going to wait on that one for a second. This was going to be wacky anime news, but it's technically an announcement, so I'm going to put it in there. An anime was announced for the light novels Reborn as a Vending Machine, I Now Wander the Dungeon.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see that.
I'm in.
I want to see that.
I'm in.
I've read the introduction, the sample chapter of this, because I was like, really? Yes. He's reborn as a vending machine, and he can he has limited speech. He can speak to people, and so a busty anime girl talks to him and ends up strapping him to her back and carrying him around the dungeon.
I'm so vested in this.
Yes.
I'm so vested in this.
I mean, it is clearly okay, you want Isekai? All right, fine, Isekai. Let's do it. We all knew it was coming to this.
Yeah,
we all knew it.
The Isekai vending machine thing. Yeah, here we go. But how can he fight while his vending power is over 9? Apparently so.
Ken of Ramune comes shooting out,
And in worst case scenario, you just drop him on the enemy.
Exactly.
It's a bludgeoning attack. Fantastic.
The announcement teaser video begins with a narrator introducing a fantasy world that has been saved numerous times by reincarnated people. And remarkably surprised, the fate of the fantasy world now lies with a vending machine? So, I mean, really.
It's bought and sold as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. It is. There are a total of 3 volumes of the light novels, so not hard to pick up.
Okay.
Also, no news on the format. We don't know if it's going to be, what. But that is a thing. Also, boy, this was an announcement. Delicious in Dungeon.
Yep.
Is getting an anime series by Trigger.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Am I gonna do it? Can I do it? Yes, I can.
You can do the thing. Yeah, a guy I work with said that he's like, do you know there's going to be this thing coming out by Trigger? I'm like, what is it? He's like, oh, it's like a food-related thing in a dungeon. I'm like, oh, this is going to be insane.
Yeah, I kind of like this manga.
Only
It's
slightly.
fantastic. Just want to give you guys also just kind of the idea of the visuals, general art style. It is really cool. Very much sort of D&D, but you have to actually eat the monsters that as you go through. So sort of cooking story along with fantasy monster thing.
I might have the first volume of that for some reason.
Oh, really? Cool.
I think it was a loot crate like a while ago, and I was just
Yeah.
like, it showed up, and I was like, I don't know what this is.
What's weird is I don't see this as a Trigger show.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it doesn't?
Oh, but I hope it is I mean, I hope it's not like Trigger is going to adventure into something. Let's try a totally different style. Let's do a different thing. No. Do the Trigger thing. Do the thing that you do with Trigger and make this thing be that thing, please. I want to see this happen.
I don't know. And the reason is it's kind of like Trigger announcing that they're going to do Eurocamp. Like, I don't know how you're gonna. That just doesn't seem
That's what's
like
so fascinating. It's like it could be visually nuts, and that's what I'm waiting for.
True. Also, in fairness, what was the anime from this past season? It was it by Trigger? That we were like that, like this isn't matching their style at all. Like it was like an idol anime or something. Oh, it was the
It was Strike Witches.
new
Wasn't
Strike
it?
Witches thing.
Luminous Witches.
Luminous Witches.
Right.
Luminous
Yeah.
Witches. Yep.
And that was by what was that by?
It was not Mappa. No, it was
I
it?
think so. I think the original was Mappa, wasn't it? Shaft.
Yep.
Shaft. That was it. And then they were like, nope, we're just doing Strike Witches.
Yep.
So this is one of those things where they're like, we'll obviously add some Triggerish things to it, but we're going to try to be more faithful. Who knows?
Find out. Hopefully they've been given, permission to paint with a broad brush in
Yes.
Trigger style, so that they're not penned in by anything.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I'm sure they're Trigger. I'm sure people know what they're getting into, and they're like, oh, okay. Let's move on to some sort of general interesting anime news. Arufureta from Commonplace to the World's Strongest. They posted a scene from their upcoming OVA for 2 days.
Yep.
They put it online, took it down 2 days later. It's a 40-minute OVA. Put it out there. If you caught it, good. If not, sorry.
Yeah, I know. I missed it.
Yeah, so that's a little unfortunate. But kind of interesting thing, You don't do that. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure somebody out there had the wherewithal to have commentary and reaction to that video.
You think somebody made a copy? Maybe?
Just a reaction, not
Just a reaction.
real, just not copied.
No,
nothing
no.
like that. That would
Nobody
be
do that.
No, nobody would pirate. Nobody would pirate.
No. It's them watching it and you seeing what they're watching and then being like, ooh, so that we know what they feel like watching.
And people make money off that. That's
yeah. Let's see here. Other interesting news. Wayback Camp's getting an English dub, which I'm looking forward to. Various voices on the cast. I will admit I am not as familiar with this group. We're definitely, a lot of modern anime English dubber voices on here.
The voice of Jean Lee as Rin.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That would definitely be memorable.
Yes.
I would be aware of that one. Let me see here. I'm just trying to find. Wow. The voice of Deshko has done everything.
Wow.
I'm going. So just a few of her credits include Akashic Records, Appleseed 13, Arufureta, Assassination Classroom, Attack on Titan, Baka and Test, Boogie Pop and Others, Black Clover, Certain Magical Index, Cardcaptor Sakura, Clear Card, Classroom of the Elite, Code Geass, Defrag, D Greyman, Danganronpa, Death Parade, Disappearance of Nagito, Yuki-chan, Dragon Ball Z Kai, Dragon R Academy, Drifters, Eureka 7 AO, Evangelion 3.0, and that's just into the E's.
Holy crap. Well, somebody's got talent and an excellent agent.
Mm-hmm. So that's I'm sorry. That's under one of her names.
How many aliases does she have?
Let me check. Just the one.
Okay.
But that also has a lot of things.
She's also known as Eleanor Roosevelt.
Wilt Chamberlain. Sorry. Very obscure Mr. Chester joke there.
You almost got me on that one. Holy crap.
Hey.
And how to do the voice of this diminutive girl from Eurocamp, Wilt Chamberlain. What?
Tedesco played by Morgan Freeman. I mean,
And that's when Nadesco knew she screwed up.
Wow. Anyway, One Piece film Red made about 5 billion yen so far in theaters.
Wow.
Not too shabby. That's about $37 million US. 3.6 million tickets.
Is it the end of One Piece, or is it just another of the One Piece?
Oh, it's just continuing on. It is going. Well, I believe Oda recently announced that he is starting the final arc.
Which is how many?
Yeah.
How many volumes or how many years, Steve? I'm going to guess about another 50 years.
It's doing better than its previous film. It earned 78% more in its first 2 days than the previous film did in 3. Also has IMAX screenings and a bunch of other things. Crunchyroll will be theatrically screening it in the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand this fall. So if you want to check that out, you will have opportunities.
But you need to see all the other One Piece.
Yes, yeah. You need
in order to understand anything.
All of it to get anything
right.
out of it.
I mean, how on earth would you understand? This is the 15th One Piece movie.
Exactly. How
without
if you don't see the
back.
other 14, you're lost.
Right. Without going back and watching, I am desperately clicking through to try to find the see here.
The beginning of One Piece.
The beginning of One Piece. Because you get, see here. There's that. There's a lot of One Piece, it turns out.
A few.
Might surprise you.
Things.
Looking through. Okay. Yeah. So you have to go back and watch. That can't be right. Annan's behind. They only list 892 episodes.
They're way off track.
They're way off track. Yeah, it's over 1,000 by now. Yeah. 1,028 apparently. You got to get through that. And
the 14 movies.
And the 14 movies, right? And the specials.
And specials,
yes. Gotta get through that. And John and Chad is right. But there's also the manga. Like the manga is better. You got to get the context of the manga.
Yeah, because you got to compare them and see where it's like where they drifted off the original track. Yeah,
right. Yes, you got to go back to scrolling.
Keep scrolling.
Volume 98. All 98 volumes.
Oh my god!
At least they have omnibuses now, so you can get them. You can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they will arrive in just the size of a small cube refrigerator.
Exactly.
Oh, how handy.
Speaking of, our final news story. Edmund is saying in the chat, One Piece should probably end around the 110 to 120 volume mark. That was 2 years ago. Now they're estimating 130 to 140.
Of course they are.
End of One Piece.
Of course they are.
Around 160.
Right.
Finally end.
We're thinking 200.
And then about volume 160, it'll end with. And now we get on to the real story.
It won't just go black screen and naked space babies. Could be. Never know.
Naked pirate babies.
Yeah, exactly.
But that would be hilarious.
Harlock
the ocean
comes in and wipes them
a bunch of
all
little
out.
babies on the ocean.
Yeah. What the hell happened?
Shueisha announced on Thursday that the One Piece manga has surpassed 500 million copies published worldwide as of the release of the 103rd compiled volume on the same day. This sets a Guinness World Record which is this updates its Guinness World Record for the most number of copies worldwide. It set that record in June 2015. It has just been updating the record ever since, just getting higher and higher.
They also have the world record for the most number of trees cut down.
You know that whole like deforesting the rainforest thing? Sorry, it's all One Piece.
Exactly. That'd be a great time-lapse photo, just this large, lush greenery. First volume of One Piece is published. You just notice there's like a little bit of thinning in one small spot. And now today, the 100th, like there's no forest. Like, oh my God, what the hell?
So that's an interesting question. What do you do with One Piece? Like, and obviously none of us are like deep into One Piece, but with Bleach, you just kind of stopped. With Naruto, you do the next generation.
Right.
With Dragon Ball Z, you continue it. You do Dragon Ball Super with same characters, a couple of years in the future. You know, some of them have kids, whatever. What do you do with One Piece? What do you think is the right take there?
In all honesty, the right thing to do is to just end it, and just to have it hopefully the appropriate end that it should have.
So
I think
Monkey
what will
D. Luffy becomes the pirate king.
Right? Yeah, and and like the Tales of Narnia, and and everything was happily ever after. I think what the reality is that okay, that'll be done, and then we'll find out who got married and who had kids, and it's going to be the next generation, whoever's going to take it over, and it's not going to be anything like the One Piece that you know today. It's going to be because it has to be, because there has to be somebody, the poor dude's got to stop at some point. So I think that's probably where it's going to go. They'll go into the stories that people were interested in. Wanted more of this character, wanted more of that character. Just side project. One Piece is not going to end with the end of One Piece. It's we're going to get 10 more years of
we're going to get
Boruto
and Yashahime,
right? Exactly,
Luffy style.
Yeah.
It'll be Luffy's daughter after he had become king of the pirates, like they, she was at boarding school when some mysterious storm hit the palace of the king of the pirates, and the child's father and mother are gone mysteriously, and now Monkey D. Luffy Jr. girl has to go out and sail the seas to find her father and restore him.
Along with her classmates.
Exactly.
Their classmates, or also the children of the other.
Right, exactly. Of course, right.
Yeah. Yes.
John, what would you do? Where do you think they should go?
I think that's entirely where it will go. It's going to be it's going to be their kids, and they're going to do their thing. I can't wrap my head around how much One Piece there is to know.
I'm sorry. Continue. Sorry.
You know what I mean? Just to think about, how do you end something that is that is so enormous? It just. You know what I mean? You've arced everything you can arc.
Well,
and you just keep going.
And that's a great point. Like, this ending will not satisfy the fans.
No.
Right.
Because there's so much going on with it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, that's that. The easiest end is Monkey D. Luffy is king of pirates. He finds the pirate treasure. That's end. But that solves absolutely nothing. And that's why I think it's 160 episode. No. It's going to be 250, 300. They're just going to keep going.
And John Chad is right. Now his daughter must find the two-piece.
Yeah.
I love that.
You love One Piece, get ready for Two Piece.
I mean, an alternative ending would be do a Red Wedding style ending of One Piece, where they all just come into the dinner about to celebrate Luffy being the pirate king, and then
Scarface.
Yeah,
total Scarface. I think.
Can't we do an end of Evangelion and just have Luffy sitting on a chair in a room where everybody just claps?
Yeah, we got it.
King, and that's the end of the
I would give them so much credit if like the end was the whole ending was a parody of Evangelion.
Yeah.
It was all just
Oh, Steve almost went.
They're on the moon.
man.
There's a whole thing there.
Yeah,
Luffy pops out of the
and-
little coffin going, oh God, there's already been 13 of me.
Jesus. It's finally the end of One Piece Galleon.
Yes, exactly. If I were them, I'd do spin-offs. I do other stories set in the same world, different characters. That way, the existing characters can pop in. You can see, oh, you got married, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But you can kind of go, kind of like Gundam, kind of like MacLeod. You can have your own other storylines, and then you can have other creators come in if they want to, whatever. I think that's kind of the easiest way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's a way to keep pumping cash out of the franchise for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, it's weird. The other thing too, though, and the thing that makes that difficult is One Piece is also so defined by Oda's style.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How closely do you match? I don't know how you do that.
Well, think about this for a moment. It's going to end, right? The main series is going to end. And you're always going to have merch, right? You're always going to have the
Yeah.
T-shirts, the things, and you're always going to have that. But for a significant portion, that's the end for a lot of employment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Like for a lot of people, that is the end.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to walk away and go, I literally have been doing this all my life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I have been like, can you just imagine that? Yeah, I've been doing the penciling on the manga for my entire, oh God, now it's over. Where's my
What are your skills? I could draw a straw hat like nobody
Yeah.
has ever drawn a
I can
straw
do a
hat.
pork pie hat, and it's just like but it's going to be an end, and like the amount of merch is going to dial back. The amount of things are going to be dialing back more and more, and so there's going to be a lot of retail. I mean, this is kind of like I run into this in my business where we have a wine, and we have a vintage, and we have something happens, and it goes on and on and on, and then suddenly. Like we're experiencing this right now with Sansera type wines, where the the fields are just destroyed. There's actually a fire, drought, and the whole nine yards going on in Europe. Oh. So people are coming in. They're like going, "Well, I've had this for so long, and then now there's nothing to sell."
Why are you giving me PTSD about
Oh
that?
shit! Nana just got off work. And she said, But the point is that this is a whole, like, there's a whole support structure of that people who are employed to do with this thing, and so now suddenly it's just like it's all gone. What do you do? And so literally, like for a lot of these retailers, they're going to have to go. We don't have all this one piece meat or merch anymore. Where's the next thing? Who's the next thing? What is the next thing?
Tower of God.
Tower of One Piece.
Oh.
I think you're absolutely right. I think they got to be some way of keeping this going.
I mean, we're talking about Right Stuff. Right Stuff is like probably going, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, there'll be a spinoff with what is it? Nami, Robin, Nico.
Yeah.
And it's like the ladies of One Piece. I'm sure there will be like some kind of thirst for a spinoff of theirs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually checking to see. As I recall, is One Piece is a Toei property, right?
That I could not say.
Yeah, it is. Because I know like they call that out on their like financials as like a significant percentage of the money they make is just One Piece.
So all their finance department people are just like panicking. There's fire everywhere. It can't end.
You can't let it end.
Exactly.
I just bought a new computer. I need this thing to go on for at least another 10 years.
So yeah, that'll be a very odd time when that happens.
Yeah.
If it happens. Yeah. Let's hope we don't get a non-ending either.
Yeah. To be continued 20 years from now. Damn it.
That would be, I'm sorry, it would be so awesome if it just like ended like Opus. Satoshi.
Oh yeah,
Lopez.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just like it's like in the middle of an action panel. It just goes,
yeah.
we got
Just
nothing
goes
else.
quiet.
Sorry, goodbye. Here you go.
Like what?
Tokyo
stops.
would burn.
Yeah.
Tokyo would burn.
There'd be a lot of anger, folks.
Mhm. That would be. Oh man,
The deciding
Wow.
blow is about to be struck. Will monkey? What? What?
Oh, that would. Oh man,
Yeah, not cool people.
not cool. Or like it does that, and then it just smash cuts to the end, and oh boy, I'm glad we got out of that. Well, then
You had
Did
to
them
be
all.
there.
No action scene, no nothing. Damn it, you.
You had to be there. Well, we were fighting in a fog, so it's just panels, white panels.
Stuff happened,
Yeah.
and in the end,
That would be. I actually I'd be curious to see that now in an anime where it's just like a big battle's about to come up, and it's like it's getting foggy. This is going to be difficult, and all you see is just like not moving, like not clouds moving, just a flat anime picture, and then hear the ching, 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 and then you go to a scene where everybody's laying around going, "Oh man, that was an epic fight!" Like. You cheap bastards.
Well, I bring that up because they did that with two Marvel comics. One with Alpha Flight and particularly fighting in the snowstorm, but more importantly with Daredevil, Matt Murdock, because he's blind and it's literally black panels, like the entire fight thing, which goes on for like 4 pages, is nothing just but kind of like his interior monologue, and you're just like.
I'm having trouble.
I understand what you're doing, but you're wrong.
But, yeah.
Yeah. There are good ways and bad ways to do that.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That's all the news for this week. Thanks for watching. We will see you all next week. Yep, it's back.
The line is back.
The line is back. There is no history this week.
Wow.
I looked
Just
back.
a blank void of nothingness.
Yes,
happened.
exactly. Granted, there are historical things, but no like anime news.
Yes. I was going to say, there are
today
pleasant
very
historical
much
things. Yeah.
historical news. This is VJ Day.
Yep.
In the US at least. This returned to a sign a couple weeks later. August 10th is Pat Labor Day, technically. I'm not sure what August 10th signifies. I'm sure there's some cute thing with 8/10 or something.
Right.
And of course, August 6th was the dropping of the bomb on Hiroshima, which is definitely worth noting. But those are the only items of note of the past couple weeks. So not really a thing. So see if we can make this work. I have a question. Oh, I don't have the audio, I don't think. But I have the picture. We can do the picture. Okay. I have a question. What did you learn on the show tonight?
Brenda.
Wow.
I still have Zhang Li up on the side. I'm going to find Keith Silverstein and have him record that line.
That would be so awesome.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That would be.
learn on the show tonight,
Brett? Your show is smooth like an Azamanthus wine.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I got getting chills.
Geo Daddy forever.
I'm making the Mora rain.
Exactly. I have learned that we have officially reached peak isekai.
Yes.
With being reincarnated as a vending machine. I think we're there. Absolutely. I've learned that dreams can come true with an anime adaptation of Delicious in Dungeon. because I've been looking forward to that for a very long time. I also legitimately learned that there is a lot of haiku. And psychopaths to that point. But yeah, haiku, wow. I obviously knew haiku is popular, knew there's anime out there, but not often you get 4 seasons and a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. And if you need help and you can find them, you can call the 8th MS team. John, how about you?
I learned that Trigger could do something amazing with this series that they're going to work on. I'm waiting with bated breath to see how it's going to go. So I've learned that they're out there doing the thing. We saw how Shaft worked, so I've learned that Trigger is going to wow us. That's what I learned. I hope I'm learning this in advance. That it's really cool that Ghibli's getting the gears are going, the things happening. So now we're going to find out whether we get the merch we want or whether it's going to be low on the merch department because of Miyazaki. So we're going to find out. And it's nice to see that we're getting, some interesting properties that are coming up in anime announcements. The vending machine is really going to. I couldn't really get behind Akikan with the girls in the soda cans.
Okay,
I couldn't really get a good grasp on that show. So I'm hoping this one will meet my vending goods needs as far as shows go. So that's what I
Yeah.
Steve?
It's like slamming a car door on my head. I just don't learn anything. It's just one thick bone right here. I got nothing. No. I've learned 3 things. The first thing I've learned is that I love the ridiculous in anime and manga, and I am so happy that we're going to have a vending machine touring a dungeon. And I as soon as the words came out of your mouth, I was just like, "What? Reserve the money." I mean, it's going to happen. I'm vested. I'm going to buy into this. And the only thing that could make it better is if it was a guy gets reincarnated as a vending machine, touring a dungeon. No, but sells malt liquor. So the girl drinks it, gets angry with seething rage, and is able to do the thing.
Yeah, there's got to be a cup noodles tie-in, right?
Yes, absolutely. Cup of noodles, ramen, something. Actually, I would so buy that ramen from the anime. Oh, oh my god! Oh Jesus! Oh god!
Nissan or whatever that. Nissan Cup Ramen. As featured in, the vending machine in a dungeon.
Exactly.
Yes. Trug-light broth. All right. Yes. The second thing I learned is that there is so much out there that of existing properties that is surprising me, and I'm really like the psychopaths. I intellectually knew there was that, but it's just really weird to hear it. And all joking aside, One Piece, my God, somebody needs to give him a pat on the back. I know he's got all the money, but somebody needs to go, good job, your day's done, but good job, because it's just, and the fact that there is, for you out there, manga folks, there is hope for you. If this guy can do it for this long, you could too. So there's hope. There is hope. Yep. And lastly, the last thing I learned tonight is that we have an odd fixation of being attracted to Zhang Li's voice. That it is.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and that's what I was gonna say. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't care. I just.
Yep. I will listen to that man,
honey. I mean, that's just right. Curse. Just dropping F-bombs for 2 hours.
As I said to you guys before, Mona. I don't know what it is about Mona's voice, but I'm just like,
she's real fun.
John Lee and Mona. I'm mad props to their voice actors, man.
Yeah. But it is something that, you hear the voice and, we joke about getting tingles, but, when I hear it when I'm playing Genshin, I'm like, I actually went through the menu the other day, pressing play.
Play it.
Play it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like going through the menu. I'm like going, oh God.
Yeah.
It's just like a sweet spot. It's just like, I don't know if she can hear me talking about it, but yeah, I'm half expecting her to go and look at her. What the hell is wrong with you? What are you talking about?
Who's Sean Lee? What does he mean?
Just listen to the voice. So that is what I've learned. That is what I've learned. And he's a sharp dresser. He's a sharp dresser.
Yes.
True. Absolutely.
Actually, there was very interesting cosplay at Otakon.
Yeah, I wish I could do the Sean Lee cosplay.
Yeah, right.
I'm definitely a treasure hoarder cosplay. So that's more my steam. So
if we ever meet Keith Silverstein at a convention and we get a chance to get him to do something for us, I am literally going to hand him a phone book.
I just read the phone. A. Abernathy. Oh, keep going, man.
835-4296. Ooh.
Oh dear.
I'm finding myself dialing the phone now. I can't stop.
Exactly. I also learned something else tonight, literally from John in chat. Studio Trigger has an English Discord. You can just join. Google Studio Trigger Discord, and boom, you go right there, and it's official and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, John in chat. That's awesome.
Jeez, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I just joined it a moment ago.
I'm joining as we speak.
Which is really, really cool. All right, that will do it for us for tonight. Next week we'll be back with the episodes 4 through 6 of Gundam 8th MS Team. Actually, no, we'll be back in 2 weeks because Steve, you won't be here next week.
That's true.
That's right.
True. I am seeing. Again, I was telling you guys, but this is a great concert. It's going to be The Damned, a very old punk band. They've been around before the Sex Pistols, by the way.
Wow.
And
so they are a very old punk band and a very old punk band.
And and they are opening for Blondie.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I honestly did not think Blondie was still touring. So
yeah,
that is freaking amazing.
That's very cool.
And they're all opening for Elvis, but never mind.
Elvis would be a trick.
It would be. It would be necromancy trick.
Hopefully, it's Bruce Campbell as Elvis in the Hotep. I would go to that. I don't go to concerts. I would go to that concert.
That'd be awesome. Klaatu Barata. Did you say the entire incantation?
Yeah, more or less. John, not to put you on the spot, do you want to do something next week or take off?
Why don't we use the opportunity to take off?
Okay, sounds good.
I was going to say, because I know that the other things that are going on in all of our respective lives also might use with some attention to be paid to them. So
fair point. So we will take the week off next week, and then we will come back and do more 8th MS Team. And starting in September, after 8th MS Team, we have a whole plan coming up. We're going to start going through some classic anime chronologically. We're going to go back to the very early anime like Astro Boy, Gigantor, and start going through those. Not all of them. Like not every episode of Astro Boy, not every episode of Gigantor.
Saize-san. I don't have a lifetime for this.
Yeah, no, just Doraemon. No, not Doraemon. So we'll do a few episodes at a time of some classic anime, kind of going through history from the 8th MS Team. So that is the plan moving forward. We will let you all know as those plans solidify. But we will see you all in 2 weeks for more 8th MS Team and more news and all more good stuff. Thank you all for being here. Take care. Have a great week. And until next time, watch more anime.
Oyasuminasai.
Donde es tu papá?
Jane.
Donde es tu papá?
Hang on, Adam.